sizing for the prong. So based on what we saw on the ventilator, in a percentage of occlusion, how big do the prongs have to be?
The prongs, I thought they have to be pretty, like, to create that pressure, you want that sealed.
You want it
80%.
100%.
Oh, it's 100.
100%. Anything less than 100 and your CPAP goes down. Now we know that inherently with the mask, because the mask is either 100 or it isn't. When this is sealed, it's always 100%. So that's not any different for the prongs. Prongs also have to be 100%. So the reason why the cannulas reduced that CPAP that we saw is because we had a partial occlusion. So you got to have 100%. And with these rulers, you want to hold the dot up to the baby's nose and get a visual occlusion going as large as you possibly can go. If you don't use the ruler, what I've found is that people, when they guesstimate 2 to 3 sizes too small. So even if it's just a quick look, hold the dot up to the nose, get a visual occlusion, and away you go. Some people like to use this Neo Seal. If you use this Neo Seal, don't stack more than one. Only one at all times.
I'm guilty for that, and here's why. The septum of the nostril, when they've been on it, it gets really irritated, and sometimes if somebody's not being cautious and how the positioning is, we found it on the triplet. It broke a lot of them. So I double sometimes when I notice it's bad.
Yeah, so when they double, what we actually ask them to do is typically when people choose a prong size, they never grow the prongs with the baby. Your baby's going to get bigger. You've got to grow the prongs. You've got to remeasure. You've got to grow the prongs with the baby so that it can maintain that gap. Okay, so take the interface. So let's assume that the circuits are connected. We're connected to our ventilator. So Christine, hand goes on the baby. Or you can do it as well. You hold your coffee. Okay, so you can put your hand on the baby. And we do find that a little bit of saline in the nose or some kind of lubricant seems to help out a great deal because these are 100% occlusion, right? So we're going to take the prongs, pop it into the nose.
So now, it should be that fitted.
Oh yeah, it should be fitted. Okay. And there's 2 reasons why.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's an adult channel.
Okay.
So there's 2 reasons why I could go ahead and just like mark it, no kids, a kid. Okay, so there's a couple reasons why you want to have it exact fit. 1, we want to maximize the CPAP. And 2, it actually helps to cut down on breakdown. Small prongs wiggle and move around and slide in and out of the nose. So this will keep it in position. So now what the nurse does is instead of putting this on or putting this on, just take your index finger and hold it right there. Now if you were to stand there for the next 2 weeks, this baby would be getting the best CPAP because you're in control of all the things that it needs. So the reason why I have you do that is it gives you something to do, gives the baby CPAP, it allows me to slow down and put this bonnet on properly. Okay, we have this blue glide bar that has a hook here and a hook here. And we have this strap with the back-to-back D-ring. Okay. Sometimes the hook is facing forward, backwards, up, down. Go where the hook wants to go. Otherwise, it'll just roll anyway. It'll give you a twist in the strap, which doesn't irritate the baby, but it does irritate RTs and nurses. Okay. Go ahead and release for me. At this point, a lot of times what people do is one person grabs one side, the other one grabs the other, and there's this tug-of-war that happens. We don't want to do that. The reason why is we want this blue glide bar centered. We want these straps below the ears. And then we want the prong sticking out. It's too hard to do with 2 people doing it. I will contend that if you do this by yourself, even with the lid down, you're going to get better results than having 2 people tighten that.
True.
Bring it down like that. And when you look, go ahead and release. The prongs, the reason should be sticking out a little bit so you could see a little bit of the prongs. So the Neo Seal is there, but you should still see the prongs sticking out. If you stack Neo Seal, you can't see the prongs sticking out, and you may not know that the prongs have gotten too small. Okay. The reason why I have the straps below the ears is it acts like a football helmet now. Holds the bonnet in place. And when I shake this, the prongs don't slide up into the nose. Whenever these straps are on the ears, everything comes this direction and it starts to ride into the nose. Okay. After 4 to 6 hours, when we swap to the mask, don't detach from here like that. First, take off the sizing straps, then detach, because the mask is going to be taller. We take this off, take off the prongs, pop in the mask, add the foam strip, and once this is in place, nurse would go ahead and place her finger right there, holding that in place. And using the mask really illustrates why two people shouldn't tighten this. So when I clip this like this, and clip this like this, let's pretend what usually happens. What usually happens is one person goes like this, another person goes like this.
It's not going to be balanced.
And first off, it's not even, right? So we don't have it even. And what this mask does is it has a tendency to want to go to center. And it starts to lift and you get a leak here. So nobody readjusts, they just go, oh, I got to center that. And they make that even tighter and the mask is now smashed down. So what you really want to do, sorry for going fast on that, what you really want to do is one person holds this, pushes the straps down to the jawline, pops up the mask as if it's a marshmallow. Full marshmallow position. You can see an opaque side and a clear side. You need to see the opaque side in its entirety. Okay. So with this system, there are 4 potential pressure sores. All of them are manageable and all of them are preventable once we get good with this. Number 1, redness on the septum. Rather than stacking neoseals, what you want to do is if you cannot maintain a little bit of gap where the prongs are sticking out a little bit, go to the next prong size up. Like we said before, if you don't use the ruler, you're probably guessing small. If you did use the ruler, the baby's going to grow. You got to grow the prongs with the baby. Number 2, redness around the nose. That is from the mask, and it's typically an indication that 2 people are tightening this. One on one side and the other one on the other. If that's not the problem, they oftentimes when they go from prongs to mask, they detach from the prongs here and reattach to the mask. You got to readjust the sizing straps. Number 3, if you see redness right on the bridge of the nose, that's typically caused by forgetting to add the foam strip on the mask. And see how it cantilevers down? So you got to have that foam strip so it stays up like so. And then the 4th and final one, if you ever see redness here, these circuits are very heavy. They have temperature probes, whether it's on this or on a bubbler. You got to support these with, we recommend using a couple of blankets rather than circuit holders. Circuit holders rise right now, but either way, you got to support those circuit holders, and so it's connected like that. Okay, chin strap. Many people don't know this, but the number on the chin strap is not the head circumference. It is the facial circumference. So if you were matching that to the head, it's going to be too small because the facial circumference is usually considerably larger. So this baby had a 27 centimeter head, but has a 29 centimeter face. So we're using this. You want to tuck this underneath. First strap goes in front of the top knot. Second strap goes behind the top knot like that.
So it should be where it is. It doesn't need to be higher.
Yeah, so unfortunately the way this one is designed is it doesn't have a chin cup and it has to go underneath the jaw. But you don't want it on so tight. You have to be able to get the pinky in on the side. Because if the baby has to yawn, burp, regurgitate, scream, it has to do those things. Okay.
So one around the face and the
One here, just like so in here. Now to your point where you're saying sometimes these come down like that, and that is a problem. And when people adjust that, they typically grab the bonnet and they pull it up like that. It doesn't seem to work. So what you want to do, hold this right here, pull the gray block back to where it's at here, not the actual bonnet itself. And then you can even make this a little bit tighter if you need to. You just hold that in place like that.
I found that
Yeah.
actually.
And if you wanted to make sure it doesn't come down, tighten the bonnet here and take out that slack at the top. Okay, but you have to do it from here, otherwise you're just chasing a problem. Any questions? So I'm going to send these, you go ahead and print off. I'm going to send